Hey, Star Wars fans and Rule of the Galaxy fans. It is Joe leading a nice little fireside chat talk with my good friend Brent Dykeman today. We're at chapter 302 of the Rule of the Galaxy podcast. And during these holiday weeks, we weren't sure if we'd be able to get together and then saw some open time. And we had a great skeleton crew, or at least a fun skeleton crew episode recently. So I thought, let's get together and talk. And those other two guys are busy. So it'll just be me and Brent today, but it is chapter 302 of the Rule of the Galaxy podcast. Follow us, like us, subscribe to us on YouTube, any podcast platform of choice. While you're out there, um, make sure if you want to hear me and my wife talk a little bit about crazy travel stuff, and we're going to have new shows, follow and like and subscribe to Travels with Friends. That's a new one that we just started that we're going to start having some guests on who've traveled. And Brent Dykeman is going to be one of those future guests when I talk to him about his trips to Europe and
Mhm.
Australia and everything like that. But right now we're talking Star Wars and having fun, just two guys chatting it up about the wars. Brent, how are you, sir?
Doing well, sitting in my brand new gamer chair. So I got
Oh,
yeah, it's my new hobby chair. So in my hobby space, the other one broken. So I feel good. I
I
feel fine.
it looks nice.
It
Looks
does.
classy.
Yeah.
It's got the lumbar thing and all that.
Not quite the lumbar thing. There was another fancy one that had a footrest for the gamers. It's definitely a gaming chair. So there's like the fake leather armrest
Sure.
but I'm just gonna destroy it with my paints and get sloppy all over it. So
Well, that's everybody needs. Was it a Christmas present?
yes, this is I had like no cares or wants in the world, and my dad kept pressuring me like, "What do you want? What do you want?" So I did say podcast equipment
Yes.
at one point, and I was like, I think I need a chair first. So I went with the upgraded chair, and then I think I can get the microphones and the mixer board because I don't really host like you guys do, so I don't need all of the jazz. So
Well, I am presently efforting that myself. I have a friend in the radio industry who has promised me, especially because he does podcasts and everything and live shows from his house for his radio
mhm.
gig, that he has so much equipment and that it's more than I will ever need. And I'm going to meet up with him and check that all out. So not only can I do this show better, but in the
Mhm.
future, we'll be able to maybe do some more live on the road things like that. So looking forward to that after the beginning of the new year. But that's things yet to come.
Did
So
you not like your old setup?
I
Because
did
you
not
okay,
did
because
not.
you had like a sorry, your old new setup because you had bought into the setup and tried to change around your setup a little bit.
It just didn't give the sound or the feel, and it was very awkward. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he's all about. I do want to move away from the headphone and the mic.
Mhm.
I'd rather have the mic in front of me
Right.
and be able to talk into that. But at present, we'll still use the 12-year-old Rosetta Stone microphone that I've been using, which has worked like a charm. So we'll go with that until I get the new equipment. But hey, 2025 is when that's all coming up. So you got the new chair for Christmas.
Yeah.
Anything else Star Wars or podcasts or Legions related that you got for Christmas?
No, man. Socks, underwear, the typical adult male Christmas,
Yeah.
right? Like, no fun toys. We had a huge text chain from our fantasy football that like blew up with like 250 texts
Yeah.
of all the cool stuff people got. But no, I do really the cliche is I rather see people get gifts than get them myself. So I
Hmm.
really do enjoy seeing the look on people's faces. I don't have to get much. But
I always used to be a big, oh, surprise me, whatever. But yeah, my wife and kids asked for a list, and I basically said, I like the brand name Built. I like their shirts. If anybody wants to give me one, great. I was like, I like the brand name Vans. I like Vans shoes, Vans socks. So, if you want to give me that. And I got a new sweatshirt, a new hoodie, and a new set of socks. And I did from my son get this, which I have not. put together yet, but
Oh
it is
yeah.
a neon sign on air, which if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see that it's going to be placed behind me somewhere and lit up soon. So I'll have the on air going like I'm actually in a nice little radio studio here. And then for those of you watching on YouTube as well, my wife knows my love for the Y Wing. She was able to find a kind of torn up a little bit Y Wing, but that's fantastic because I can buy and find the other parts to finish it. So, an old late 1970s Y Wing, which I'm really excited about. It's just one of my favorite ships in Star Wars. So, as just a little fun thing, she got that for me, and so that was fun to get a little things related to Star Wars or the podcast. But yeah, so it's Christmas is flown right by.
Hmm.
My one gift that I kind of hinted to you guys for my wife, and just so you know,
Yeah.
I made some hardbound like coffee table books of our Italy trip
Yeah.
and our recent Destin trip, where it had
Mm.
all the pictures and a nice hardbound book for her. So that was fun. But I found this thing online a little before Christmas, and it was called booksbyanyone.com. So we're not sponsored by them or anything like that, but I have to give them a shout out because booksbyanyone.com, you go in and you answer questions about
Mm.
someone.
Hmm. Hmm.
You put in as much detail as you want. You put in
Hmm.
a cover for a book. They help you create a title for the book, and then they take AI and take all the answers you gave them and
Turn
make a book. And so my wife's book is called "Don't Run Up the Middle" because that's what she yells. At, that's what she yells at every football game.
Ah, that's amazing.
Yep. And then it talks about how her love for cleaning her windshield and how much she likes to sweep over and over again in the house and you know just different fun things in the family. But it asks for all of her sayings that she says all the time.
So is it
So
like
my
a kid's book? So
no,
is it
no, it's like a novel. It's a 240-page book
what?
based off of her, and it's written by her. She's the cover photo, and then it's got fake reviews on the back of it, and it's broken down into chapters. Like what's it like making big meals on a football Sunday when all the family's together, and then she loves doing bookkeeping, so it was about that, and then just so it's hilarious, and I really was nervous because while it's poking fun at her some, it's really done out of love and
Yeah.
you making those little idiosyncrasies about her, making them be a chapter, right?
Yeah.
And so it's my kids loved it. She's loved it so far. So if anybody's looking for a gift in the future, birthday, Christmas, whatever, go check out booksbyanyone.com and I think you'll have fun with it. It was a really fun thing to do. So it was at least a hit. I was nervous, but it was a hit.
That's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. I'm nervous about AI, but I also love all the things that it will do. So, and
You
I'm on that
still my
teetering edge.
my personal belief is you still like it only does what you tell it to do, so you still need somebody to tell it to what to do. So you
Correct.
still need people to be able to critically think and be able to program and control the AI. It's only as good as the programmers.
I would agree with you on that. I would agree right now. Now, when we can make the AI programmers take over our
Well,
thoughts, that's, different.
sure. Sure, like once they get to that level, but like we still haven't got to that level.
No, we have not. So, everything else going okay in the Brent world before we start talking a little Star Wars, recapping 2024 and a little Skeleton Crew and everything like that.
Yeah, just chilling. Like I said, I think I was over at our mutual friends, my in-laws, and Jess said that like you had all of this lead up to Christmas and it's already over with. So
Oh,
it was like that post-Christmas um, post-Christmas depression is where she was hitting. And so like you get all that excitement, rip and tear packages open, and then all of a sudden there's nothing. So
it's especially that way when you have kids because you see them buzz through everything and you're like, well, there goes a few
yeah,
months worth of work and effort, right?
yep.
So, and tomorrow my wife wants to take the tree down, so
Yeah, they
just
can't stay up too
another
long, right?
no, no. But that's another story for another time. Real life, that we all have to do that. But I did take a moment and I sent to you guys a real quick thing, kind of looking at 2024 for Star Wars. And I mean, on our end, you guys went to ICCC, and
Yep.
we've had some great interviews and guests and things like that, obviously. And then I got the luxury of being on Fantha Tracks and Making Tracks with Mark Newbold and,
Yep.
and Mark Mulcaster, and then being on Geek Out Loud with
Correct.
Steve Glosson. But looking at the overall 2024 Star Wars, I'm trying to go through here. We had the end of Bad Batch, right? It ended in 2024.
Yep.
And then we had The Acolyte.
Yep.
We had the Tales of the Empire,
Yep.
Rebuild the Galaxy, the Lego Rebuild the Galaxy,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
the 25th anniversary of the Phantom Menace,
Yep.
and Skeleton Crew. Am I missing any other major things that kind of went on or whatever?
No, there's a lot of speculation towards stuff. You had did we have no celebration is this coming year in Japan.
Yeah.
Um, there's no other. I mean, other than the D23 announcements, which
Yeah,
aren't really many. I can't remember if there
we've
were
got
any
future
announcements.
stuff coming,
Hmm.
Mando and Grogu film. Um,
Right.
we have other potential films. We won't even get
Right.
into names and thinking of those. But we don't know right now any future for 2025 like animated. I don't think shows.
Is there a Vision season 3? I think they announced that there's a Vision season 3, but that's coming up, like right. So,
Yeah, yeah. So
um,
and Andor, obviously Andor season 2 with the final season of
right.
Andor will be next
Was that
year.
23? Was that 22 or 23? Andor.
Oh gosh, that was 2023, I believe.
Okay.
I'll have to go back and look. It's all of it's been a while, and it's been a
Yeah.
blur because
It's
we
been a
had
while.
we keep going back to that line all the time.
Well,
So we have Ahsoka season 2 that they're putting together right now. I don't think they're doing
correct.
any filming or anything. Um, yeah, can't think of anything else off the top of my head that's pertinent for 2025. But I guess if you're a Star Wars fan, there was a good amount there, right? Skeleton
There's
Crew, Acolyte,
quantity. There's
Bad Batch.
quantity, right? I mean, so I think everyone can agree that there's quantity there.
100%.
I don't know if anybody can agree on the quality, but there's definitely an agreement on quantity.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting kind of thing as we look down the line a few years from now. If we look back, because it's not like they're putting a big list of quantity for 2025 yet.
No,
So are we gonna long for, hey, that year when we had all that stuff come out? Yeah, I
there will
don't know.
be people that will. I know there
Yes,
will be people that will, especially people that are trying to do weekly podcasts. They're going to try to figure out what the hell to talk about.
we're just gonna make stuff up. We're gonna have AI give us what to talk about.
I mean,
Uh,
true. You know,
so, but
you can actually have AI create a podcast. A guy at work. So long story, quick story. Took a handbook. It's the new teacher orientation or the NIT
mhm.
handbook. Put it into the AI and created an AI generated podcast where it was one guy talking back to a girl. So a male voice was talking to a female voice, and they were talking about it as if they were reviewing the book and the details of the book. And they went over and they hit the high points and like, well, what about this chapter? Well, the highlight of this chapter is, and it was an actual podcast. So you're not wrong. We probably could have AI knock out a rule of the galaxy. I don't know if it'll be as fun because I don't think they'll get in the hand wiping jokes or
Flick
flicking your
the
big.
bic. So I told you guys I did take my movie idea and just
Yeah,
took like a page of notes and it created 4 or 5 pages of the movie.
yeah,
I mean, so it is out there.
yep,
And now if I was just smart enough to say, okay, I'm going to take that and put dialogue and everything else into
right.
it, I'd finish it up. But yeah, so it's a possibility for those things to fill in the gaps for us, just like my wife's book that we got back.
Yeah,
Give it a certain amount of things, they'll fill in the
yeah,
gap. So hey, you know what?
absolutely.
Maybe we should try it. Maybe we should all write down ideas and say create a Star Wars podcast based off these talking points and ideas, and just type it up and see what it does. I
You
think I
know what
might
we
try
should do?
that.
We should have Shesky's short story turned into a movie.
Oh yes,
See if we can take Shesky's short story and see if they can extrapolate that into a movie script.
I guarantee you they could because it was a long. It was what was it like?
Oh, it was like a 10, it was a longer one.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I've got that file saved. I might throw that into AI and see what it does. Um, but we do know that, like I said, we're getting the Mando movie, but I think that's 2026, Mando and Grogu. But I just saw rumors that they're still talking about maybe making Mando season 4, but it would be after the Mando and Grogu movie. I don't know if it's needed, but again, if we're looking for quantity and it's popular, right? Grogu makes money.
So here's the thing. I don't know what's needed. Um, and I was gonna go to because you were talking about like we got quite a bit of stuff for Star Wars, but the other major property that Disney spent more money on hasn't really churned anything out recently, right? So is
Mm-mm.
Deadpool Disney? Was Deadpool Disney or is that Sony or was it like a joint venture?
I don't know the legalities of it,
Sure.
but it was well, it's on Disney Plus. I know
Yep.
that.
Yeah. So
So,
so if it anything, well, they own Hulu, so they own Fox also. Like so, so I don't know if they own Sony. Anyways, so Disney put out like Wolverine and Deadpool, but then they also what Agatha All Along
mm,
or whatever. And
yeah.
what else have they put out? Like, so if you want to talk about the other major property, and they spent more on that one than they did on Star Wars,
Mm.
and they're still not churning stuff out. So they've taken that step back to reevaluate. And like we always talk about, like good stuff will get people to the theaters. Good stuff will get eyes on it, and good word of mouth and good publicity will. Um, but is less more, right? Less is more. Is that what we are taking from 2024?
I think some people would say if you're doing less, you're concentrating on it more and you're making more effort to make it good. But there's no real proof of that. I
Correct.
mean, it's just a theory.
Correct.
But Alfie is the one who always says, it's hard to make new, and to go along with the hard to make new, it's hard to make good, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there's think of all the people that love the original trilogy that still would tell you nothing good has come out after that.
Don't you have a person in your family that's that way?
Yes. Speaking of that young man, I got to see him over Christmas,
Yeah.
and he would like Alfie and I to come to a live show from his place where he's
Right.
basically got his own Star Wars museum, and we
Yeah.
discussed that again. We're going to put that together, and we're efforting that, as they say in the
Okay.
biz. And he's also going to he's going to do some speaking things and run a panel at Star Wars Celebration in Japan.
Is he really?
Yeah,
Interesting. So how did he get that gig?
he is very involved in the collecting industry.
Okay.
Very involved. Matter of fact, Jim Swearingen, the guy from
Yes.
um, what
Yes.
the heck? Not
I
Hasbro.
triple C.
Kenner. Yes, I
Oh
triple
yeah,
C.
yeah.
I briefly met him, shook his hand, said hi, and appreciate his work at I triple C in the past. He's friends with Mr. Swearingen, and
Got it.
he made some unique artwork just for him for
Okay.
Christmas. His wife commissioned him to do that, and he made some for my uncle Matt. So it was really cool. He showed me that over Christmas. So yeah, so very very cool. But we will be efforting that and making an attempt to do some shows from there, and maybe
Okay.
we'll take the whole crew that's in Central Indiana. D-Doc will have to miss out. So,
Mm, sorry,
and
D Doc. You're just gonna have to move.
I agree. So yeah, so that's where we are on some things. One of the things that I really liked from this year, and it's behind me here, the Star Wars Secrets of the Clone Troopers book that I got.
Oh, the book. Yeah.
Man, that was a really cool book, really well done. I hope they continue to do those because it fleshes out a lot of things like the minutia, like real, deep Star Wars fans, the guys in their basement, they want all the little bits. Books like that are good for that. I'm not sure movies are the great place to do that, or uh, you know, full length series are good to do that. But those books, those are fun if you just want to dig into something and
But are
learn a
they
little bit
considered
more.
canon?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, so it was a good book, and I'm presently reading what is it, Reign of the Empire, the first book of that series that's going to be coming out in 2025. I was lucky enough to get an advanced copy,
Look at you.
only digital, so that makes it tough because
Look at you.
yeah, yeah, it's really cool. It's happens after Revenge of the Sith, and when the Emperor's taken over, and it's all the stuff leading into Andor and Rebels and things like that.
Okay.
So I'll give you guys a rundown once I finish through it and everything. So, but it's really cool. But that's about all I'm seeing. All I've got on kind of the year in review, everything like that. How about Legion? You guys got new kits, new
Yeah,
like
so they went through I want to say in September, August or September there was a huge rules adjustment, so the game plays a little bit differently. They made several advancements and changes and done some updates. So that was a big change. It's kind of controversial because um, I found that in the gaming world, if you make a change and it benefits somebody else, it's a terrible change. But if it benefits you, like, what are you talking about? Like, there's nothing wrong with that rule, right? So all gamers are that way, and the sky is falling if anything changes.
right.
And I feel like anybody who is a gamer out there can probably relate to that. And being new to the culture, I have just started to experience that. Other than that, they're going to put out the Aqua Droids. So for the droid team, you can get like they're going to be in a heavy slot, so they're going to be like a tank, and I think you get two or three of them, and they're big lumbering aqua droids.
Hmm.
They're also going to put out the actual crab droids because they have the spider droids from episode 3, but the crab droids, which I believe are in Clone Wars stuff, they're coming out for the droid faction. Um, they put out a sleeper cell, which is like a rebel, like it's a they're a special forces unit in the rebels that are supposed to be like an undercover special forces unit. And then they also put out a riot squad for the Empire, which are kind of a la like the Andor with riot shields and
Mm-hmm.
like so like a riot squad. They actually have K2 droids that you can put into the riot squad. So they actually have like so just like Andor. So they kind of put those things out recently. Other than that, um, the big tournament like coming up, there's one in Chicago in March. It's called Adepticon. So there's a big, I think, 250 people playing.
Wow.
It's like an open world event. So if you buy into the ticket and buy out there, you can play in it. Um, yeah. Other than that, ran like a couple house leagues at the store. Had about 40 people. No, about 30 people involved in the league. We're getting ready to start up one that's kind of called a Galactic Conquest. So you battle for planets, kind of like a Risk. Like so, there's a map. If you win the battle, you can put a point on that planet. If you can control that planet, it'll give you a bonus.
All
So
right, you need to give me some future dates because I need to come and do some filming and do some interviews and record them. So you
yeah,
give me some future
so
dates and send them over to me, and I'll make sure that we make it part of the updates. We post it on YouTube and all that.
the other one that's got my interest right now is called Arena Rex. It's a complete. It's not Star Wars related, but it's like a gladiators. So you have like little gladiator guys. So I hold this up.
Nice.
So this person's running around with their gladiator. I haven't painted these guys. So this is a young lady running around. This one's kind of like a Native American kind of faction. And then they are in like a gladiatory arena. So next Saturday, I'm hosting a group of guys to get together and play that one.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad you found that. I'm still the same goofy guy that we started talking 5 years ago. You've expanded, done so many different new things. That's awesome. So,
Yeah, don't know if that's everyone would say that that's so awesome, but yeah, it's me.
all right. Well, the
And
people who
my
listen
room's a
really
mess. Yeah,
the people who listen rule the galaxy would agree with me.
there we
So,
go.
so we touched on Skeleton Crew. It was part of the 2024 adventure, and the quantity as you mentioned. So here we are. We're in episode 5 that's come out this week.
Hmm.
3 more to go after this, right? 6, 7,
Hmm.
and 8. And I'm still sitting there and watching and going, I'm Brent Dykman. I was entertained.
Hmm.
I was entertained. And I'm not leaving with, man, if they would have done this or if they'd have done that. Really, I'm leaving going, you know what? That was entertaining. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next. That's all. And it's all these things we've talked about: Pirates of the Caribbean, Goonies, E.T., Indiana Jones. All those things are wrapped up in this show.
Yeah.
So it's been very fun. And again, like Alfie has said, the kid acting has not bothered me. I feel like they're being very natural kid actors, like that they're playing the role that a kid at that preteen age would do.
What, you wouldn't go into a hotel room and jump on the bed?
That's what I'm saying.
I
If I would,
mean,
I'd do it now.
yes, you would.
Yeah, as I say, I would.
Yes, you would.
But I mean, that's that's what you expect. Like
Yeah.
being a parent. This You've always talked about the found family thing with
Yes.
Rebels and a lot of Star
Yep.
Wars. This is a found family of 4 kids and now a father figure who turns on them, turns on them, likes them. We don't know where that's going to end up, but it's that coming together of these different attitudes, personalities, strengths, weaknesses, but they're still being preteen kids and going, oh, there's a buffet. Oh, let's go jump on these big cushions. Oh, we're giggling because we're wearing these funny costumes. Exactly. Like being a parent, I could say, man, if I had a 12-year-old or 11-year-old kid, that's exactly what they'd go do right now if we were
Mhm.
in a similar situation. So,
Mhm.
but what are your thoughts? Because sometimes most of our group is too high on things or too low on things. You seem to be the guy, the compass that stays in the middle. What are your thoughts on whether it's the first 4 and this one, or all of it, or just this episode? I mean, what's flicking your bick when it comes to the Skeleton Crew?
No, it's fun, right? Like I turn off, right? That's the
Hmm.
whole point of any sort of movie. That's the whole point of anything, is just to turn off and let it happen, and just to be engrossed in what the story is. I enjoyed it. Now, when I turn back on, um, my biggest complaint is just how dumb they made the security officers. Like, I get that, I guess it's supposed to be slapsticky, but that wasn't even like Naked Gun slapsticky. That was just like Saturday morning cartoon stupid. And I mean, you could have made it a little bit more adult, but like they came off like they were on the movie Idiocracy, and they were in the year 2500 and had no clue about life. Um, just the security officers. I did
Okay.
like the fact that they look like fleet troopers, but like it was just too bad. It was horrible.
You know what? We put a blanket, put a that what was a cheesecloth? Wasn't that what they used to use in
Hmm.
Moonlighting for Sybil Shepherd, or Sybil, was that her name? Sybil Shepherd, the actress in
Yeah,
Moonlighting, who
yeah, I
we
know.
yeah, we use that when we look at a lot of Star Wars things. And if you go back and you think that in A New Hope you had 4 people, Chewie, Han, Leia, and Luke, and some droids going basically against an entire army, an entire Death Star, right? The stormtroopers couldn't hit anything, right? They're looking for the droids. They knock on the door, nobody answers. If it's locked, move on to the next one, right? I mean, it seems like they've always kind of been. And then you go to the battle droids in the prequels, and
Yeah,
they were,
but so the not hitting anything. Sorry, I'm cutting you off, but like
but you know where I was
the
going.
the not hitting anything, I feel like was something that came afterwards once we became adults. Because if I go back and look at it as a kid, did they really even shoot in the first, other than shooting into space, right? When they're trying to fire into space, did they really even shoot in the first, in A New Hope?
In some of the hallway scenes of Death Star, they were shooting back and forth
Yeah,
across
but
the
Han had turned
bridge.
it.
They were shooting,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, they were shooting across the bridge, but
yeah.
okay.
But you're right. I mean, it was much more that intimidation factor
Yeah,
of so many of them, right?
and the fact that they were helmeted and had the mechanical voice.
Yes.
Um, yeah,
But
I guess they shot in that first opening scene, but like they killed fleet troopers.
right.
I mean, there were
And
dead fleet troopers on the ground that Vader had to step over as he was walking in.
and Obi-Wan does say, right? Only marks this accurate come from
To be so
Imperial,
precise,
yeah, precise would be Imperial stormtroopers. So it's a dichotomy on that, right? It's back and forth.
right?
But I can see when you've got a group of kids that they have to. It's like Scooby Doo, right? The bad guys
That's
are
what. Yes,
always
there it is.
it's
That's more.
Scooby Doo.
They were Scooby Doo is what I was trying like Saturday
Yes.
morning cartoon. They were just like caricatures of they weren't even like security guards. They were caricatures of security guards.
I would agree with you, and that I like that you can go, okay, what's my nit to be picked is the caricatures of the security guards, right?
Yeah,
Because on a lot of the rest of it, you're going, okay, they go to
yeah,
a new planet,
yeah.
okay, it's a spa world, interesting,
Hmm.
oh, there's a pool of acid, great. How are they gonna, they're mixing even in national treasure, to
Right.
go along with. I mean, oh, the thing that I loved, I don't know if everybody else thought the same way, but when they were in the treasure room and Wim went to grab something, Aladdin. Remember when Aladdin the monkey
Oh,
went down and he was like, "Don't touch anything," right? You can't touch because as soon as the monkey took
hmm,
one thing, that's when it all caved in on him. And so Jod telling him you can't grab anything, and Wim basically being that cartoony kind of character of
yeah.
wanting to just grab the next treasure right next to him. So yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. There were. I'm interested to see. I heard somebody else say, and I think it was on Making Tracks with Mark and Mark, that they're wondering if KB, as smart as she is, while she had 33 SME on the table, right? Did she do something to his programming when she had him down for him to easily flip back to his old self? And in the future, now that Jod's in charge of him, that she's got some little secret control in him to where she can flip that switch and go, oh, now he's going to listen to me, right? I mean, we don't know, but I thought that was a really cool take that they had on that because now that Jod's got him, he seems to be, pretty much in control of everything. So I don't know. I just thought that was an interesting take by them.
I yeah. No, it's a good take. Like I again, how is it gonna play out? Like I feel like there's something more there. Um, is he doing it to try to protect them? Did he turn on them to try to protect them? Like, is there an altruistic answer? I think the simple answer is no. Like
Right.
the simple answer is he's trying to like take everything, and he's got what he wanted. Now he's gonna take them and make sure they can't stop him from getting what he wants. But I don't know. You got what 3 episodes to figure that out?
Yeah. So let's start with something at the very beginning, which was very small but very cool in my opinion. A regular workday in at Atten. Every time you show a job in
Mm,
the Star Wars, that 9 to 5 office just looks
hmm.
so drab and blah. It's like
That one didn't seem bad.
no, it wasn't near as bad as Andor, where they
Correct.
were
Correct.
drab and blah. But still, it's very muted, very much you're just in your little cubicle doing your thing. But I liked that it was what Neil's mom came to Wim's dad, gave him the stuff to use to get into the computer, and then when it gets reported, it goes to Fern's mom. So
Right.
they're all wrapped into this. But I think one thing that stood out to me was Fern's mom said the supervisor isn't going to do anything to help us. And this goes back to I don't know if it was you, Alfie, or D-Doc, who was like, could it be that the Renaud is the supervisor at Atten? Because if he knows that the Onyx Cinder is gone, and with those kids, because the only ship that they know of, took off with these kids, and it's going to return to Atten, and he's like, they're not going to help. Could he say, I'm not getting him back here because then my cover's blown, my secret's blown, I'm in charge, all that kind of stuff. So that was what popped through my head when they were doing all that. Do you have any thoughts on that opening scene?
All right, so who's Renaud?
Renaud was the captain of the Onyx Cinder,
Oh,
the
the
the the,
original captain.
the original, yeah, SM-33's boss,
Yeah, like
and he's nowhere to be found on that crashed ship. So I don't remember if it's Alfie, D-Doc, or you who said could he be the supervisor, because his whole goal was to have an eternal treasure. Well, being the supervisor of the entire planet that is the last mint, I mean, is he living in the lap of luxury right now and in charge of all these old republic, all this old republic money?
I mean, that's kind of where I was coming from. Like he destroyed all the other planets and then crushed the ship, and so that
Right.
like yeah, so that's where I've been. So I don't know if it's the original pirate host or if it is there's the droid connection. Some people think it's a droid, so I don't know if it's a droid that's running it or if there's no one running it. Um, but they caught on to Homeboy real quick too. Um, it's almost like he was trying to fix the glitch in Office Space, and they came up and wanted to get his stapler back. Like, I was impressed with how quickly they caught it, and then he tried this is another Scooby Doo thing. He's like, "Show me what's behind your back," and he shows his right hand,
Yes.
and
Yes.
he's like, "Let me see your other hand," and he takes his hand behind his back. Like you wouldn't try to like shove it into your waistline. Like, come on, there was like,
Right.
I mean, that was like again Scooby Doo ish.
Right. And you know what? Maybe that fits. Maybe that's the crowd they're going for.
I
Is the
guess, yeah.
Yeah, get the youth involved with the show to make them like it and want more. Um, so again, we'll go back to Skull Ridge. What Lanupa, the planet they went to.
Sure.
That was
You know
again.
that that's the farthest thing from the things that I remember.
I know. I just try to remember stuff and then I write notes to myself to keep it fresh in my head. But taking you to where we went to a gambling planet in the Last Jedi,
Mhm.
right? Have we been to a spa planet?
No.
I don't think so. We went to a brothel in Andor.
Yeah, that was the
Um,
first one, but that was just a was that the whole planet wasn't a brothel.
no, no,
It
no.
was
I'm
just a
saying,
brothel on
yeah,
a
yeah.
planet.
Well, heck, there was a brothel in the little moon that they went to in this show, right? That was the girl who came out and told them she was going to help them when they saw the kids. Um, I love when they told the story about the concubine. What's a concubine? Um,
Alright, so
um,
did we get another name? Did he get another name?
he did dash something, but I thought they were going to go with Dash Rindar.
Right, and that's what I
Yeah.
think Alfie, because Alfie, like,
Yes.
reacted instantly in our text chain. He's like, "Did he
Yes.
just say the name that I thought he said?" And so I thought they didn't do Dash Rendar, but they did something close enough that every Star Wars
Nerd,
super
geek.
fans,
Yes.
right? Every one of us is gonna be
I
like, "Ooh, I know that name."
I did like Pocket. Was that her name? Pocket, the bounty hunter, the
Yeah,
all white with the white eyes. That was a pretty cool character right there.
yeah, that was a pretty cool alien too, because it's a newer species that I'd never seen before.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I thought that that was really well done. It wasn't one that like you can kind of like pick a hole into in a way. I feel like it was very believable.
Yeah. No, I felt good about that character and her calling him Dash, and then that lady was like, "Okay, what's
What?
the reservation under again? Which name are we using?" So
Correct. And then he threw a whole pile of money at her.
let's hurry up and no luggage. Yeah, so that was fun. It was good stuff. I love that she turns on him, which obviously she was going to do. Brutus, I think, is the Wolfman's name. Sends his
Maybe, yeah.
guys there,
Yep.
and I love that the first ship's coming in. And you're thinking, oh, we're gonna get the same spiel. Second ship, boom, boom, takes out the
The
cohorts.
welcome
Or
ship, yeah, the welcome
yeah,
ship.
that was fantastic. So that was a really good scene. I like that. Um, that big creature, I can't remember his name, Kalopthal or
The one that's under in the underneath in the tunnels?
yes,
Yeah, that was weird.
that was a
It was
wild
also
scene.
so it was also dark, and
Yeah,
so that one was one that was dark, it was late. I heard the voice, but I didn't even try to pay attention to what the creature was because I was like, "What the hell is this?" And then I just gave up on it.
I at first thought it was going to be one of those things from Rogue One, the
Oh, the
thing that
Boar Gullet?
yes, I first thought, oh gosh, they're going to do a Borgullet, but no, it was more like a big walrus
I
octopus kind
mean,
of thing.
what's her name from Solo? Proxima something? That was a weird one too. Um,
Oh yeah,
yeah. So they
the one that got the light on her and
yeah,
all that.
like
Yeah, yeah,
she turned into a vampire because he threw a rock at the light. Yep.
yeah. I like that we're doing the throwbacks. But you mentioned Solo. Some of these guards and their gear look like some of the troopers in Solo. Remember when he was on that mud planet and they
You
had
think that they were
security?
mud trooper style?
I don't. It just that was one of the things that kind of
I
led
thought
me towards it.
they looked more fleet trooper to me than they did.
Okay. Well, you're the one that would see those up close and personal while you're painting them,
I
not
mean,
me.
right? Like so that's like the helmet. Like the mud trooper was more of like a I don't know. It's more of like a it doesn't have like that God, I can't even put my words on it. The Fleet Trooper has more of like a scoop look to it. It's
Okay.
got like a and
Yeah.
the Mud Trooper is more of like a straight down
Yeah.
on the sides,
I
where it's
gotcha.
more straight and it's not as like so
The Mud Trooper
the
almost has a samurai helmet look to it.
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the Fleet Trooper has more of like the bicyclist that's trying to go for speed.
There
Like
you
it's
go.
got that like the speed bicycle helmet. So it's got
I
like
like
that
that.
long drawn out scoop to it. And that's what it reminded me of. It didn't go straight down.
Nope, I gotcha. Yeah, for some reason it just popped into my head that way. But um, so let's go back to Jod real quick. Alfie put in his notes to us. He is well. First of all, he used the Qui Gon quotes when he was talking to Anakin from the Phantom Menace.
Your presence determines your or something like that. So
Yeah, he gave.
somewhere in there.
Yep. So he gave that. He gave him a speech on attachments, which let's face it, Jedi hear that most of their lives. But Alfie put on there uses the force repeatedly, perfect scoundrel, heartfelt with whim for 1 minute, blade to Fern's throat the next. We all know he wasn't actually going to hurt her, though, do we? I don't know. And as soon as the kids are in trouble, bet you he grabs that lightsaber and goes after them. Well, that leads me to that part right there about the lightsaber. We'll get to that. But what are your thoughts on Jod? Do you have a gut feeling if it's going to go one way or the other with this guy? And I just lost Brent. So either my internet went down or Brent's went down. We'll find out in a second. Personally, I think he's going to flip flop again. He got the lightsaber at the end of episode 5. It's going to come into play in either 6, 7, or 8, but he's going to save the kids at some point in time. I thought the scene with Wim, you feel like that's his big Luke Skywalker moment, his big save the day moment where he's going to grab that lightsaber. And of course, he's holding it upside down. He almost filleted himself. It was a very comical scene. I liked it. It wasn't what everybody was expecting, right? It's like, okay, this could be fun. Let's see how Jod battles and gets this from him. Instead, he screws it up from the very beginning. So that was good. Let's see where Brent is while we have a second here.
I am C3PO, Human Cyborg Relations, and you are listening to Rule the Galaxy. A most impressive podcast, if I do say so myself.
Okay, so it looks like Brent did have some technical issues and dropped out. So I'll just finish up, and we weren't going to go much longer anyway. Jod, I love where this is going. Alfie's right. It's hit on the perfect scoundrel, right? Han does bad things, but Han does good things. Now Jod's doing the same thing, but with a little hint of the Jedi with him. So that's kind of cool. And I'm looking to see where it goes. He could be right in the right age to have been a Padawan back during the prequel time frame. So there's that there, unless he's using the magnets like the guy from the Obi-Wan series, which is still a possibility. But he seems to know a lot of the terminology and the word usage that a Jedi would know. Let's see where that goes. I don't know. And let's face it, was he strong enough in the first episode when all those people went after him for a mutiny? If he wasn't a Jedi, could he have protected himself? Would they have killed him? Why would you keep him for a trial? Don't know. A lot of things with Jod, as we've talked about, have been hidden away, just like in the last episode when he saved SM-33 and when he got the warriors to give him the Eopies. So there's a lot hidden there, but that's making it fun. Last but not least, Alfie talked about the lightsaber, saying it was a High Republic lightsaber. I didn't pay attention to that. Alfie sees all that stuff, so it was news to me. But yeah, it was very cool. I think the ending, how they went down the chute, and that was, I believe it was Wim who remembered that the cushion seat would knock him down through that tunnel. Don't know where they're going to go, where they're going to end up, but looking forward to it. I still say the KB thing is out there. Everybody's kind of had their episode where it's their time to shine. KB still hasn't had that one episode where it's KB is the leading force of it. I think we've still got that in front of us. Obviously, we've got more pirates coming to show up, and we've got a resolution, whether it's back at At-Atten or to further the adventures down the line. But overall, loving this show. Looking forward to see where the last few episodes go, and hopefully it'll kick off 2025 the right way for the Star Wars name and brand. That's all I've got. With Brent hopping out, I don't want to go into some huge monologue. Let's just, let's finish 2024 strong. Let's look forward to see what we can do in 2025. A live show possibly with my Uncle Matt, the Great Ohio Toy Show, maybe ICCC again if we can get our foot in the door there. But a lot of things going on. Maybe getting D-Doc out here to the Midwest and showing him what it's like here in Indiana. But we really appreciate it. It's episode 302. Thanks for being a part of what we're doing. Thanks for always listening, always following. And let's just see where 2025 goes. Like I said, let's move our way on to 400. So until next time, keep watching the Skeleton Crew, and may the Force be with you.